All right. Welcome back to Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears. Let me just get myself lined up here. Okay. So I was thinking after my recording yesterday, the episode yesterday, about the winning the battle, but to lose the war. Something that did come to mind in the process was thinking about the mythology, the story of the phoenix. The phoenix that burns to ash and then rises out anew. Why is that some people find such great joy out of that particular mythology or story, but not really understand the depth of the value in it? And we do this daily. We do this often. I wouldn't necessarily, let me take it back. We may not necessarily do it daily. Some people that are insightful will. The concept behind it really isn't that there's a bird that catches on fire and comes out this greater thing. It's actually human transformation. It's a transformation of self. It's a transformation of what we see even in the animal kingdom. What I'm finding that we typically are not aware of is how we can guide it, how we could actually extract something more valuable out of it. We find people that, and I've come across people regularly that don't really value the lessons and the challenges they go through in life. As I kind of, I observe everything that I go through, right? I'm really prefer to try to extract everything I can from every experience that I have. And I watch not only the statements, the statements that people make around me, I also look for specific values about those things. So how they interact, what kind of body language they have. I look for double positives, double negatives, things like that. There's a lot of value that you can get out of it. Here's a little tip that I use, and it's been really successful for me. And I learned this from one of my very first mentors, a man named Eric Maybe, and he told me this about a date that he was on. And he had a friend with him, and it was a couple people, and he'd met this girl. Actually, it wasn't a date. I take that back. He was at a restaurant, and he had said something to a young lady about, obviously being interested in her. And she had said, yes, absolutely. Oh, I'll definitely give you a call. And he recognized by the double positive that she was overemphasizing to make him feel that, she was going to call. So it eased her situation at the moment and gave him a faint sense of confidence that, she was interested in him. But there's things that comes out of that. Like what he did is he gave a demonstration in that moment that there are situations where you can rise above whatever your experiences were. Now, it doesn't mean that really somebody wasn't that interested in you, doesn't mean that there's something wrong or anything like that. That's how we kind of find matches in the process of living. But what is it that you've done in your life that's been the phoenix that's burned? It's like I said yesterday, playfully, it's like, don't worry, queen, you let that bird burn. You that phoenix will rise. It's like it's sitting with it. It's being with whatever the challenge is that you're dealing with. So it's fascinating how fast we devalue what we're going through because of our emotional attachment for the outcome that it goes the way we want it to go. But life doesn't do that for us. It's fascinating how often we try to force life to do what we want, as if we can make it bend to our will without adapting to it first. So you have the hard drivers, and there's people that'll run themselves into a wall. But with the example I gave about Eric, now this, by the way, that example is something that way outdates his relationship. This is back when he was but a young man. He didn't make that a permanent thing about his life whenever it happened. What he made it was he recognized something from the previous experiences, and he came out with a deeper level of understanding. It's actually, you can argue and say that he came out with a degree of wisdom. My request with this video for you, the ones that are watching, the ones that are the developmental, I don't want to call you addicts. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the description of addicts. And junkies seem so trivial and so kind of cliche and tarnished. I wouldn't want to call you that either. You're just developmentally sound people. You use a lot of insight. You prefer to see how the world's going to occur and develop yourself in a way that you continue to experience the things that you want to experience. You're the workers. We'll call you the developmental workers. Learn from everything. I do. My preferences. It's like this in itself. I've had this channel. I've had my Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia channel on YouTube for 5 years. Actually, over 5 years at this point. And I had, previous to that, 1 year worth of videos of my own name in it, without Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. And I kept holding myself in place, not going on, not expressing myself, not really offering, any of this to the world. I was afraid of being ridiculed. I was afraid or concerned with people not accepting what I'm putting out, or even worse, criticizing it in a way that would be, potentially detrimental to other people or damaging something. And that particular thing was, every time I wanted to get on and do a video, I also realized in that process that that I would hold off, and it put me in a state of apathy at times, and it's not fair. I would speak to people in my regular life, one-on-one, face-to-face, and share my thoughts openly with that person, and then back to me, but only to be left with, I wish that this conversation didn't have to stop. I really want to continue to hear this, and if only I could have you with me all the time, keep you in my pocket. I've heard a lot. Then I just finally said, with the strife that we're going through in the world, the divisions that we've had, the political divide that we have, the frustrations that we've got going on. Hey, Sabrina, it's good to see you. It's, for me, I recognize that there's something that we can do about it, and I have something that I can do. Will it change the entire world? I don't know. And that's not my goal. My goal is to at least cause a desirable effect on somebody else in a way that leaves them more able to achieve something in their life and less likely to get frustrated and do something disruptive in another person's life. That's what came out of it. So with that, I've made a dedication to myself that I will make a certain amount of videos every single week. I will be interviewing people, getting to learn them, learn about them, learn what they've gone through, understand what their phoenix is, where they came from, what pile of ash did they leave behind. You can say that even in that mythology, the concept of the fire the bird goes through, the phoenix goes through, is this all-encompassing and engulfing thing that just ignites and burns to every single possible level of burning before there's nothing left, and all that is left is ash, and the newer you arises. Sometimes we need to put ourselves through those things. Sometimes we need to have somebody that emotionally puts us through so much turmoil that you finally realize where your attachment is, that's prevented you from moving forward with yourself, and how you consistently become dependent on somebody else for you to move forward with yourself. Maybe that's it for you. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own, bird in the fire. Don't worry, Queen. You just let that phoenix burn. It'll rise. But the bigger goal is let's live in it. Sometimes you need to sit in it. Like there was one of the education pieces that I went through, we had a specific distinction. And when you were pissed off, right, you were really aggravated. We called it being on it, right? You're just on it, right? You're just frustrated. There's times when you get pulled out of being on it way too soon. It's like when somebody comes rushing in and they do this white knight thing where they're like, it's going to be okay. Head on shoulder. Come on in. Head on shoulder. But you might need to sit in it for a while longer. You might want to sit in it for a while longer so you can really embody the frustration that you're going through and the upset. That's being on it. I can't tell you how many times I've told people that were in my life that were coaching, both coaching me and me coaching them. that I've had to ask. First off, you know you're on it. Clarity. Secondly, do you want to stay on it or do you want to get out of it? And let them have it. And I can't tell you how many times I've told people, I want to stay on it. I want to live this thing out. I want to feel the full expression of being angry, the full expression of being upset. Oh, there's one of the comments here is, okay, I'm okay with being on it for a hot minute. Why not? Like, you can look at it like, why are we so addicted to the sweet nectar of the reward, the desire, the happy? Why are we so hooked on that we're unwilling to face the not so happy, not so desirable? So you can get the full impact of it. You spent 3 years in that relationship. You're constantly questioning yourself about that relationship and your value in the relationship. Then you walk away from it going, nope, never again, not doing it. But you really didn't live it. You just kind of blamed it. No, you didn't sit in it enough for you to be like, you know what? I'm not going to relive it, but I'm not going to do it out of avoidance. I'm going to do it because I've gotten more mature out of this. That's that phoenix burning before it rises out the new you. Oh, so many unbelievably wise stories are locked into the concept of what we call mythology. Now, even religion holds so many valuable things, so many stories that will give you deeper insight into the human condition. But if we look at it like it's a story, an external of our life, it's hard to put it to your life and put it into use. So, actually, one of the people that I talked about the Phoenix thing is actually on and watching right now, and I really appreciate that because from our conversation really put into a different context on that Phoenix rising. It's like it just burn it up, it just has to burn up. So sitting on it, letting it really engulf you, not saying react, not saying grab the baseball bat and take the Louisville Slugger to both taillights. No, I'm not okay with that. That's like a 4-year-old that doesn't have the understanding of the consequences, but the anger overtakes them, so they just act it out without realizing the damage and hardship that's going to be created. It could very well be that Louisville Slugger swinging on the taillights of somebody's back vehicle, and it's your fault, not theirs, because you didn't say what kind of relationship you wanted with them. But you sure as hell took up the opportunity to try to make that relationship what you wanted without really enrolling them. Sleeping with somebody is not enrollment into a relationship. Telling somebody that you care for them in a certain way without actually having intimate conversations, and I don't mean intimate where you're bare on top of a shower curtain rubbed up with oil and stuff sliding all over the top of your queen-size mattress. A little too particular, a little too specific. That doesn't mean that you've actually intimately connected with the person. It could very well be that you've conned them into thinking that you are only wanting to have good times with them, and then acting out like a child to destroy their property because you're emotionally hurt. These are the things to grow up over. You see stuff like that. I do hope you guys appreciated that a little bit more than I was. I'm not being that specific about it because that's the case at the house, okay? Just because you see Christian Bale from the movie American Psycho in the background does not mean that's really the case here at the old brochure stead, our house of debauchery. No, it's not that. But the point being is, we really, if you want to have a real long, meaningful relationship, and this is all types, work relationships, individual relationships, even acquaintances, be responsible for who you are in that state. Really allow yourself to live into it. Like I've done many, many times, is let the bird burn. Let it be there. Give it its right of existence. If you're that upset, it has a right of existence. Meditate on it. Make up your own version of meditation, whatever the hell works for you. We all have our own forms. As I shared in the previous video about one of the reasons why I didn't like meditating. If you didn't catch it, please go back and watch it. I did speak about my father in that video. But point being is sometimes we got to sit on it. Sometimes we got to let it consume us a little more. But again, please please be responsible for what you're doing whenever that happens. Don't do something that you can't take back. Don't do something that you can't reverse. Sitting in jail, waiting for the bailiff or somebody to bail your happy ass out, that's a permanent record. Hurting somebody else physically, it's another thing. Don't do it. Really. If you want to hurt somebody physically, get somebody who agrees to it. Martial arts, boxing. Get in the ring with some gloves on with somebody else that says, I'm ready, let's go. Mouth guard in. Bouncing around. Got the dude in the corner with the towel. Go that route. 100%. Lindsay just said, self-awareness is a muscle worth building. 100%. Absolutely. How many people say that they want to have the body that they want, but they never say they're going to develop the mind they want? I'm going to diet. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go bust it out. I'm going to get my Instagram account out. I'm going to get those bands on me. Ooh, I'm going to be an Instagram model. I'm going to make qualifying, loving relationships based off of what I can do physically, but not do anything to build that muscle that's between your ears. It's not just that. It's the habits of how you express yourself. That's another one. It's an external muscle concept that's done through the habit processes that we build around us that help support the way the brain functions. Physical elements, emotional elements, there's all kinds of variables. We can all say it housed right here, but if you want to compartmentalize it to make it easier to work with, there's a video series that I have already produced. Gives the foundation portion for the maturity systems or the maturity programs that I've been putting together. But the point of this is that we can take the phoenix out of the mythology and make it something that you actually have right now. That is what the point was for me when I read those stories, when I look into mythology, whenever I read the Bible or other religious text, I look at it for the stories about humanity, about the being human of it, and look for how I can derive what their message was. What did they want to communicate? Because a lot of that stuff does not transcend it transcends the years. It does not get locked in the era. That's really where I'm at with this. If you got to let that bird burn, queen, let it burn. It's going to rise out a beautiful phoenix. But you really have to let it do it. You got to work that self-awareness muscle, like Lindsay mentioned. All right. That's pretty much it for right now. If you just jumped on, I apologize. I'm not going to spend too much time belaboring everyone with this. But it is one of the snippets. Seriously consider. Sometimes you got to sit on it. Sometimes you got to let it actually give its right to exist. If you're upset and you're pissed off, give it your rights to exist. You're pissed for a reason. Find out where you're attached. Let it be what it is. It's an indicator. And by the way, if anybody comes on my channel and starts bad-mouthing the ego, all I'm going to do is look at them and think to myself, they're bad-mouthing themselves. That's worth looking into. I do have a video that actually speaks about the ego from a different perspective. It's your subconscious you that acts out, trying to create survival or opportunities for you to be more comfortable. And if you don't address it, you don't do what you need to do, you're probably going to forever try to use your ego as a scapegoat. Check out that other video. Again, look for the recording. I'll be publishing on Sunday evening as all goes well. We will be recording with all of the members from Chat with Chad for the month of July. So all 4 people that I did the episodes with. All of us will be on at the same time. Please do put your comments in the comment section. Any one of my postings, I'll go back, find them, and then put them out so that the group can kind of go over it or specifically address the individual that you'd like to ask the question of. Or if there's just a general question for all of us to kind of panel discuss. We're going to be happy to have that. Again, it's going to be Chat with Chad this Sunday. We're going to be recording at 12. I don't necessarily have a chat forum set up for it just yet for everyone to watch, but we will have something in the near future so that people can jump in and participate as well. Again, thank you so much for participating today, watching the video, and also for the comments. I appreciate you guys checking in, for all the likes, loves, and all the rest of that. Do share this video with a person in your life that you know that they can draw some benefit from it. Try not to give it as a prescription, because a lot of times people don't like that. They usually treat it a lot more like, if it's a prescription, it's more like telling somebody how to quit smoking. If they're not ready, they're not ready, and they're going to likely resent you for telling them something's wrong. So, but do share this video as an insightful approach with that person in your life. Watch it again, whatever it is that actually helps kind of change things a bit. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I'm curious, and I'd like to be able to share my insights to as many as possible and make a big, deep, long-lasting impact that we can all agree, regardless of our positions politically or any other variable that we may hold against us, other people. All right, again, it's Chad Everett Brochures. I am the host of Growing Up in the Wilds of Suburbia. I greatly appreciate all of you, and until next time, remember, we're all in this together. Let's create something beautiful as we are. All right, talk to you soon.